On this episode of All Chiefed Up, now that the Chiefs have officially released Frank Clark, how will Veach and Kansas City replace him? The Bears are planning to pursue Juju hard in free agency, and OBJ may be out the door as well. What are our next moves? All this and more. Stick around.
What's happening, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to All Chiefed Up. Frank Clark has officially been cut from the Chiefs after 4 glorious years in Kansas City and 2 Super Bowl wins. There's no more smelling blood in the water.
Shark, he's gone. He's gone. But you do know this opens up doors for new faces, new blood coming in, Steve. That Frank Clark sniffing the blood. He's out. New blood coming in. This allows Brett Veach to have a little bit more cap money so he can get out there and cook a little bit. I seen where you posted that on YouTube yesterday. He's cooking. Steve, where do you think Frank Clark may end up going now that he's left the Chiefs? Do you have any destinations in mind?
No, man, I haven't put much thought into where Frank's going to end up at, but I did read something where they were kind of linking him to the Raiders.
Yeah, you were talking about Clark Dalton from yardbarker.com. He says that Frank Clark could end up in Las Vegas to help out Chandler Jones, who they signed to a massive contract last year, but he underproduced because he said Chandler Jones was out of position. He says that the Raiders will have the 5th most cap room this year, $39.7 million, and that they can use their number 7 pick on a quarterback and then go sign Frank Clark, and that's going to take care of both positions. Also, Ben Cooper from clutchpoints.com says that he thinks Frank Clark could end up in 3 places: the Colts, the Bears, and the 49ers. So it looks like Frank Clark is going to be able to get that big contract he was wanting that Veach could not provide. But, yeah, that's where Frank Clark's going. Steve, who should we get to replace Frank Clark?
Yeah, so I think they're going to try to replace him with the draft, in my opinion. They do have a link to Marcus Davenport from the New Orleans Saints, but he pretty much just struggles and don't really do a whole lot, so I don't know what the whole connection is with him.
Yeah, Marcus Davenport, man, much a roller coaster career. He's had 2 decent seasons, 2 really bad seasons, and he's had 1 amazing season because 2 years ago he had 10 sacks. But last year, as you said, he only had a half sack or a sack. Either way, he had a pretty down year. But being 6'6", he's a guy that should fit into Spags' system. I just don't know if we're going to be able to pay him what he wants. They're still saying they're going to be able to get 23 to 25 million per year out of this guy, and I just don't think he's worth it.
Yeah, so there's not many options in free agency for defensive ends right now as it sits. Looks like they're probably going to lean more towards the draft. You can look at Nolan Smith, Derek Hall, all the guys that we've talked about before, and we will talk about much more later on. You can look at that, but, I mean, really, you can't replace Frank Clark. You're never going to get a guy on this team that's just going to be that effective in the postseason every year. He's kind of one of a kind when it comes to that, with his leadership skills on defense. So, I mean, you're not technically going to replace him. Will they add more depth to the defensive end position? Yeah, they're going to have to. You had Carlos Dunlap, who was on a 1 year. We don't even know if he's coming back or not. Frank Clark is now gone, so it's kind of leaving you with George Karlaftis, Joshua Kando, Mike Dana. There ain't a whole lot going on. We got some practice squad guys, but nothing solid. So definitely going to be looking to the draft, probably more than free agency, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Speaking of free agency, it's looking like Bleacher Report, NBC News, and a lot of other news outlets are saying that the Bears plan on adding Juju Smith-Schuster very aggressively in free agency. They're trying to add, and they want to help Justin Fields the best they can. So they're going to go after Juju very aggressively. It looks like Veach is probably not going to match a giant contract. I don't think he will do that, so he's probably going to be outbid. We're going to lose Juju. The Chiefs did come out today and said that they're looking to make Kadarius Toney possibly our number 1 wide receiver last year. He has a lot of injuries. I don't see him being an overall number 1, and then you're just going to have MVS Sky and then the 2 Rosses on the practice squad that I don't ever see panning out like most of Chiefs Kingdoms do in a short amount of time. So, Steve, it's been linked. SB Nation says Allen Robinson is seeking a trade from the Rams and that the Chiefs should be the number 1 team on his short list. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I'm sure the Chiefs are on a short list. They're probably on everyone's short list because they want to come win a Super Bowl. The thing is, I have no interest in Allen Robinson. I never had interest in Allen Robinson. I think he's highly overrated. He's going to be on a contract similar to Juju, 3 years, $45 million-ish. That's probably what the Bears are going to throw at Juju. I would say fight for Juju more than go ahead and just, hey, let's get Allen Robinson. Juju's been solid this year, and I think he would continue to be solid for the Chiefs. He's young. He's got all that experience. And like you said, it doesn't leave much for us in the wide receiver room if he exits the building. And what are we going to do? We're going to draft some more and just start from scratch. Kadarius Toney, he's way too much of a liability with injuries. Sky Moore's still developing. MVS is MVS. So, I mean, that's kind of where we stand on it.
Yeah, I think that 1 year with Juju proved that Juju could fit in here. He was a security blanket for Mahomes. I like the idea of just keeping Juju. If you can keep him somewhere around 15, maybe even 16 million for 3-4 years, I would consider that more than taking on Allen Robinson's contract. Then again, they did say the Rams may pay part of his 2023 contract salary. So if that's the case, maybe they could pay part of 2023 and the Chiefs could restructure his final 2 years. I have no idea how that works, but I still do not prefer Allen Robinson over Juju. So I would fight for Juju the best I can. If not there, I think I'll just go to the draft to rebuild that one as well. I don't really like Allen Robinson that much.
Also, the news yesterday was that the Chiefs are not planning on tagging Orlando Brown Jr. again this season. He's probably going to walk if they don't get a long-term deal done soon, Mike. So what do you think about that?
Man, I really hope they get something done with Orlando Brown Jr. Again, a lot of people are infatuated with drafting somebody. I just don't think that anybody you draft is going to be as valuable as Orlando Brown for the first 2, maybe even 3 years of trying to protect Patrick Mahomes. You're going to lose part of Patrick Mahomes' prime and part of his career and this dynasty run if you cannot protect him. If you look to free agency, there's not much out there. Just today, the Bucs released Donovan Smith. Everybody keeps talking about how that'd be a good signing. It's not that great of a signing. The dude commits way too many penalties. In 2022 alone, he started 13 games and had 12 flags thrown on him. And he also allowed 6 sacks. So any rookie is going to be unproven, and any vet is just going to be a downgrade to Orlando Brown Jr. There's no way to look at it other than that. And if you're on the other side of this and you think getting rid of Orlando Brown Jr. is the best way to go, I cannot get inside your head on that one. It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why people want to put that at risk. Orlando Brown Jr. does ask more than a lot of people think he's worth, and that's fine. He's in a position to do that. He has all the leverage here. The ball's in his court. He can do what he wants. He's a grown man. You don't have to get up in your feelings about how Orlando Brown wants to get paid by the Chiefs. But Orlando Brown, you know what you have with him. You've won a Super Bowl with him. Patrick Mahomes trusts him. But instead, everyone's probably cheering on the fact that he's going to go move on and improve another team as we're trying to put puzzle pieces together all of a sudden during Patrick Mahomes' prime. I know we did interview Broderick Jones. I do like him, the left tackle from Georgia. But he's a rookie, man. You're going to have to move up in the draft to get him. So you're going to lose some draft capital or something else just to get up there and get him. And then he's still a big question mark as opposed to Orlando Brown, who you know has been on the up and up since he started over at left tackle.
Right. We know we can win with Orlando Brown Jr. He's now won a Super Bowl at left tackle. Patrick Mahomes likes him. I don't know how. I just don't know. I cannot fathom anybody trying to get rid of him. Makes no sense. I do know they'll say, well, he allowed 4 sacks last year, but he had 722 offensive pass blocking snaps. That's pretty good. He did have an 8.3% pressure rate, which was the highest rate of any left tackle in football last year, but it did not attribute into any sacks because we've always said it. Mahomes is mobile. He creates his own pressure sometimes. So you just can't look at it that way. As you mentioned, Steve, if you go to the draft, you're looking at Broderick Jones, maybe. You got a Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Paris Johnson from Ohio State. As you said, with Johnson and Jones, you're going to have to move up to get them. You're going to have to trade more draft capital. Darnell Wright, anybody like that. The Chiefs actually looked at Carter Warren, left tackle from Pittsburgh, and they interviewed Jordan McFadden, left tackle from Clemson. Both of those guys kind of have an Orlando Brown body type, but there's problems with both of them. They're all just 2 to 5th round picks. And I do not feel comfortable just plugging and playing a 4th or 5th round pick and protecting the franchise, which is Patrick Mahomes. It does not make any sense to me.
So the offseason is officially underway. We're seeing it with these moves right here. A lot of question marks still. But Brett Veach is cooking, as we've said. And RGR, they talk about Brett Veach's plan and building a dynasty in Kansas City in this video right here. Make sure to watch that. Get in our comments, talk about all this stuff. Let us know what you think's going on. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell. And we'll be back tomorrow with more on your Kansas City Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. See you guys.